Okay, so welcome everyone to the webinar. So tonight we're going to look at finding some simple tools and simple tips and strategies to help you regain control of your life, your cash flow, and your future. And in order for you to participate the best in this webinar and be engaged in the process, so I created a worksheet for you. And so I highly recommend you go through the worksheet as we're going to go through the webinar in the different sections. And just participate, because any change begins with the first step, which is awareness. And so it's really important to be able to participate in the webinar by doing some self-reflection and finding exactly where you are right now, because that is going to allow you to make a decision about what is going to be your next step. And the reason why it's important to self-reflect is one of my mentors, Dr. John DeMartini, says the quality of your life depends on the quality of the questions you ask yourself, which is the awareness, and how you act upon them after you discover something new. And so that's really important for you to go through that and just participate. You're going to get the most out of the webinar by doing some work yourself, not just letting me do the work. And so if you decided to join the webinar tonight, I think there's 3 things that you want and that you're looking for. And those 3 things are, the first one is you want to get back in the driver's seat and in control of your life without wasting any time and missing out on opportunities. And that is understandable with what is currently happening around the world with the pandemic and coronavirus. And so this has shaken the world quite a bit. And so sometimes we might feel that it's time to get back into the driver's seat and see, okay, what can I do about my life? It's also finding a healthy way to manage these uncertain times and get through the crisis. You know, Australia has been just entered a recession that for the past 30 years, we've been pretty all right, but now we're getting into an economic recession. And so it's really finding, okay, how can we navigate these times together and how we can get stronger at the end of it? And the third reason why you might be here is that you're looking for proven strategies to increase your success and potentially also regain the sense of purpose and finding greater fulfillment every day. Again, the current situation is making it tough for many people. Now, there's also some things that you're struggling with currently at the moment, and those will probably overwhelm anxiety and stress due to COVID-19. Potentially also is that you may be lacking some clear direction, or maybe lacking a step-by-step strategy to be able to create your future, own your future, or maybe at some stage rebuild your future if you've been suffering a lot from the coronavirus. And you might also be feeling lonely and struggling on your own. And it's not very easy sometimes to figure out all this by yourself. And so you might be looking for some help to be able to help you guide and assist you and support you along the way so you can create your future. And so the good news is I'm going to help you with all of this today in this webinar and give you some of the tools and ideas that you can start to implement and carry further and potentially help you along the way if that's important. My mission in life is to educate and empower professionals, entrepreneurs, and business owners to really unlock their potential and find fulfillment in a vocation that is designed around their unique genius, their skills, and their purpose in life. And so what we're going to cover today, I have a lot of things I want to share with you. And so what we're going to cover 3 key principles. And the first one is that your focus is your most precious asset. And your focus has been tested many, many times during these times recently. And so it's really important to bring back into the center of the picture that your focus is going to determine everything you do. Second important point is that mastering your emotion is the most valuable skills you need right now. And I'm sure you've heard about, the major issues raising in mental health around the country, and not just around the country, but also around the globe. And so finding and having the ability to be able to manage your emotion is really crucial to be able to adapt to the situation. And finally, without clarity and proven authentic strategies, nothing will change. And so the key is really finding your authentic strategies, the strategies that really work for you. Might not work for someone else, but they're going to work for you. And so these are the 3 key points I want to dive deeper today. My intention for tonight is to help you cut some of the noise that is in your head right now and make a bit of empty space, so you can fill it up with new ideas, new decisions, and new actions. It's also to give you 3 simple keys to regain control of your life and your future. And I'm going to share with you a 5-step blueprint to create your future by choice, not by default. Why this is important? Just because of that. Just because of what is happening right now currently in the world. Coronavirus. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of volatility happening. And there's a lot of fears going on. And people are developing anxiety. We're not sure what's going to happen in the future, what the future will look like. We know that what used to be normal in the past is not going to be normal in the future. And so we have to confront a lot of changes and be able to adapt to the new situation. And so that's why these 3 key points are going to be really important for you in order to move forward. And if you stick with me until the end of the webinar, I have a gift for you, a $297 gift that I'm going to offer you, because I'm here to help you on your path to be able to live your life on purpose, find more fulfillment and success. And so if you stick with me until the end of the webinar, you can claim that gift. This gift is going to help you with 3 things. First, it's going to help you identify your highest priorities right now. It's going to also show you what you can do right now in terms of the decision and the actions that are important for you to make in order to continue. And finally, I'm going to help you map out a clear path forward to live your life on purpose. Because one of the things that is going to be the most important for people is to really connect with a strong sense of purpose in order to navigate this crisis. And so if you stick until the end of the webinar, you'll be able to claim that free gift. And this is what you're going to explore with me one-on-one in that. Now, in case you're new and you haven't heard me before, I'm going to share with you a little bit of background about myself so you know exactly why I'm speaking and why I'm also qualified to be able to present some of the information here. For some of you, you've seen some of these things before. For others, you might discover something new. So first, my name, I'm Dr. Olivier Becherel. My title is Human Potential Activator, Life and Business Strategist. And that's really what I focus on, helping people activate their unique potential and design their life and business around themselves so they have more fulfillment, meaning, and purpose in life. And I'm also the co-founder of Mastery to Success with my wife, Marcia, which is our coaching and consulting company where we help professionals, business owners, and entrepreneurs create more fulfillment and success in their life. Now, you probably, if you know me, or you probably just picked it up, is I have an accent, and I'm not a native Australian, but I come from France. I was born in France, and I was born specifically in Normandy. And for those that know France, you will definitely know about the croissant and the beautiful things that they have there. Now, one thing you probably don't know about me is that from a very young age, I was really fascinated with the mysteries of life. I was looking for understanding whatever I can find around me and try to figure out how this works. So much so that when I was 8 years old, my parents bought me a microscope. So I can just, grab some dirt, put it on the microscope and have a look what it is. And so I was looking at bugs, I was looking at crawlies, I was looking at anything, plants. And so that's really started my passion about, studying the mysteries of life. And for me, when I was a kid, it was fascinating because I was able to see some things that most people never seen before, or maybe will never be able to see before in their life. And so that's really started my interest in understanding life and especially the micro element of life. And this led me to study biology at school and then go to university and undertake a PhD in molecular genetics and cell biology. So to do my studies, I moved to Strasbourg. So from Normandy to Strasbourg. And I started to do my research. And my topic of research was really understanding how simple cell organisms, such as bacteria, respond to environmental stress. Most of the time I were looking at response to chemicals or the response to UV light. And the main reason I wanted to do that is I want to understand how the cells protect their genome, their genetic blueprint, their DNA, but also how they develop mutation in order to adapt to a changing environment. And so that was the beginning of my scientific career in research, is studying how cells respond to environmental stress and adapt to environmental stress. Now, while I was in Strasbourg also, I met Marcia, which later became my wife, and we had a common passion about understanding life, cells, and the human body. And so we both end up doing medical research. So that's where we find ourselves. I didn't have to leave my life to meet my wife. I met my wife in my lab, which is quite very effective, let's say. And so in 2002, after I finished my study, PhD, a little bit of postdoc, we moved to Brisbane, Australia, completely on the other side of the world. And then again, I continued to do my medical research. So I worked at the Queensland Institute of Medical Research and the University of Queensland. And I work on neuroscience and cancer research. And my focus was to work on neurological disorder and trying to understand what is the mechanisms of disease. So I study genetics, I study epigenetics, I work with stem cells, did some stem cell research to really trying to understand what is the onset and what is the mechanism of disease at the cellular and molecular level in a range of neurodegenerative disorders. And so I did that for quite a number of years, about 20 years. And everything was working fine. Everything was going well. I was doing my research, getting some good results, making progress in my career, mentoring students from high school students to honor students and even PhD and helping them graduate. But gradually I realized that something was missing in my research. I felt a bit limited in my research and there was some kind of a disconnect. And so I feel more and more I was disconnecting from the drive I had to do my research. It was not as when I started before. And in 2007, there was a turning point for me. The turning point happened when I read a book that my wife bought called The Universe in a Single Atom by the Dalai Lama. Now, I must say, this is the first spiritual type of book I ever read. Before that, spirituality was not on my radar. I never read anything spiritual, anything around personal development. Everything was purely around medical research, science. But in 2007, I just got curious with the title of the book, This Universe in a Single Atom. And I thought, oh, that might be interesting, how science and spirituality can serve our world. And so the funny thing is that I read that book in a weekend, and that changed completely my perception and my perspective on life. And this is also the book that catalyzed my personal development journey. And by reading that book, I understood what was missing in my life up to now. I was purely focused on the physical aspect of life, but I was missing the spiritual aspect, the metaphysical aspect. And so when I read the book and I finished that book, I realized that my purpose in life was to integrate science and spirituality, spirit and matter, and science, physics and metaphysics. And so I realized that my role in medical research was a bit limited, and I was just limiting myself to the possibility I could explore. So I started to do a lot of personal development. And in 2009, we published our first book with Marcia. Now, this is something I would never have thought I would have done as a scientist, because I can tell you this book is very left field. It's very much self-help. And so we published the first book together, and then I started to dive deeper into personal development, studied a lot about the mind, about neuroscience, a lot about neuro-linguistic programming. I got certification in neuro-linguistic programming, hypnosis, and coaching. And then we decided to launch our business, Mastery to Success, and we started to do coaching together. Another turning point in 2009 is I met one of my mentors, Dr. John DiMartini, and I discovered the universal laws, how they apply to every realms of existence, but most importantly, how they apply to human potential and human behavior. And this is a picture we took with John when we were in South Africa for his 60th birthday. We were attending in one of his advanced programs there, and we had the chance to be able there to celebrate his 60th birthday. And so diving into personal development, I realized that science, the way I was doing science in the academic realm, was not really what I was supposed to do or what I was meant to do with my life. And so I decided to take a leap and follow my calling, and I decided to quit academia and medical research. I left academia, I left security, I left this prestige, and I started out my entrepreneurial journey with Marcia, and we are a business Mastery to Success. And in the past 10 years or so, we've been fortunate to work with people around the world, work with people from a range of industries and profession. We work from high school students to entrepreneur, professionals, leaders, CEOs. And we really discovered a lot of things about human potential and really dive deeper into what it is to be able to fulfill your potential and to really live your life on purpose. And so I consider myself very fortunate to be able to make that transition and go really after my calling. But most importantly, I find like I was really grateful for me to be able to follow that calling. It's not because you have a calling that you can't follow it, but I took a risk and the risk has paid off. And since then, I never really looked back into going back into medical research. I just love what I do every day. And so every day I live and breathe human potential and personal transformation. And it's the same thing with Marcia. Both Marcia and I, we found our unique ways to be able to combine our scientific grounded approach. We're both doctors. Marcia is also a medical doctor. And so we find our unique way to combine our science background in life and health, well-being, and combine that with the power of the mind using neuroscience, my background in neuroscience, to develop something we call the science of personal leadership. Because we realize that no matter where our clients come from, no matter what industry, no matter what position they are, no matter what stage in their life they are, it's all about developing personal leadership. And that's what we've been doing for the past 10 years. The result of choosing that and changing my career into what I do right now is there were less stress, definitely. A lot more enthusiasm and energy. I got more productive and more focused and effective in what I do. A greater sense of contribution and fulfillment because I can directly affect people and make changes in their lives. Also focus on what I do best and I think I was born for. And I'm leaving my legacy right now. And so the reason why I share all this is because if we can do it, we had no background, no business in background before, but if we can do it and really follow what is our calling, so can you. But there's 3 different problems that I can see that stops most people from following their calling or following their dreams. And right now, one of the major problems is what I call infodemic. Infodemic is about the overload of information, or the overload of contradictory information, misinformation, disinformation, fake news, and everything. And I just wanted to show you here just 2 figures to show you the amount of information that we believe might be true has nothing to do with the truth. Everything has been fabricated, changed, reconfigured to be able to feed exactly what engages people. And yesterday, I just watched a short TED talk from a former Facebook employee that was before a CIA officer, and explain how the Facebook algorithm is just creating polarization in people because that's what engaged them. And the more people are engaged, the more polarized you create people, because that's usually what, drama engage people. Good news, people get bored about it, but drama engage people, and that polarization has been magnified with the social media. And so we have a lot of information We have a lot of confusion. It can create a lot of overwhelm, but also sometimes people feel hopeless because they don't know what to do. They're completely lost and confused. So that's the first problem. Misinformation, disinformation, overload of information, and confusion. The second problem is that more and more we're forced to have some kind of social distancing and disconnect from one another. It's almost like our freedom of movement and our liberty of expression is shrinking as the day goes into 2020. And the major downside of that is, since we have human beings, we have social creatures. This is triggering more and more mental health issues. The lockdown is creating an ongoing loss of personal freedom and a huge mental health crisis that hasn't really appeared yet, but is going to show up in the next few years. And so that is also a problem, a limitation and a restriction on our freedom. And the third problem is the economic problem. What we've seen is that the government is going into a massive deficit, massive debt, in order to kind of stabilize the economy, stabilize employment. And so the budget numbers, as the treasurer say, are shocking, and there's worse in store. So what's happening right now is that production is going down, the GDP is going down, the unemployment is going up. And we're here in a crisis or in a recession for the next, I'd say, 5 to 10 years. And if you look also at the household financial position, people are worse off because they have less cash. There's less economy, there's less work. Therefore, it's more strain on people in the household to be able to create the lifestyle they really want. So the third problem is a big economic crisis is currently happening and is going to unfold for the next 5 to 10 years. So these are the three big problems that everyone is facing right now, not only in Australia, but all around the world. And so my big promise today is I want to show you a simple path to be able to reclaim your personal power. Because I want you to be able to design, create, and own your future with what you can control. I'm going to help you clear some brain noise due to the confusion that exists and help you refocus and prioritize your actions on what you can do right now. And I'm going to share with you a 5-step blueprint for real life result that we've been using with clients and developed over the past 10 years. Now, I encourage you to take plenty of notes and also to actively participate in the webinar by just answering the questions in the worksheet and doing that self-reflection exercise. This is really how you're going to get the most out of it. So let's get started with the 3 principles I want to share with you, the 3 keys that is going to help you regain some control, some focus, and some direction in your life to be able to create what you want in the future and navigate this crisis. And so we're going to look at 3 things really to help you design and develop and activate your personal leadership, the foundation of everything in life. And the first key is going to be about focus. So I like philosophy as a scientist. I like philosophy, I like history because it gives me perspective and helps inform my decision for the future. And so I selected this quote from Epictetus, which is a Stoic philosopher. And so the quote says, "The chief task in life is simply this, to identify and separate matters, so that I can say clearly to myself which are externals outside of me, not under my control, and which I have to do with the choices I actually control, which I control." Now, if I break down this quote and simplify it in a way that make it very understandable, we can determine focus and use 2 different circles for focus. Our focus is a center of attention, attraction, or activity. It's where we put some of our resources into. And so if we use the analogy of 2 circles, we can say we have a circle of concern, which is all the things we care about, but very often we have little control about, or little control over, or little power to change. And we have the second circle, which is our circle of influence. And these are the things we can control, the things we can change, and the things we have power over. And there's different ways to look at those circles. When we have a huge circle of concern and a very small circle of influence, what happens is we get overwhelmed. because we're putting so much focus and attention into the things we have no control over. So we can feel hopeless, helpless, creates more stress, anxiety, depression, and we feel that there's nothing we can do about. And unfortunately, that's what's happening right now with most people when they tune on the news every day and watch, daily COVID numbers without meaning because they're given outside of a context. And so for most people right now, they're focusing on a huge circle of concern, but they have a very little circle of influence and they're under stress. Now, the other possibility happens also when you have a huge circle of influence, but a very small circle of concern. What this leads to? It leads to narcissism, focusing on yourself and ignoring and caring not about anything else. And so that creates disconnection. That's, for example, if you do social distancing at the extreme, you're going to create people that are so isolated onto themselves that they're completely disconnected from the outside world. So the first version is not sustainable, and this one is not sustainable either. What is sustainable is this: when our circle of concern is a little bit bigger than a circle of influence, which means that as our circle of concern grows and we grow our circle of concern, that's created tension, a relationship between our concern and our influence. And that is the pathway to personal growth and personal development. It's similar to when we grow the difficulty, we're forced to grow our skills to reach that level of flow. And that is what's happening with our focus. The more we grow our circle of concern, we also need to grow our circle of influence and maintain a tight relationship between those two circles. Otherwise, either we create overwhelm or we create disconnection and loneliness. So when we look at our circle of influence, the only thing we really have control over, there's three things: our perceptions, which is everything is happening in our mind, the decisions we make, and the actions we take. This is the only thing we have control over. It's about who we are, what we do, and how we act or react. Our focus directs our energy, it influences our actions and determines the result. So if we are focused on our circle of influence, we can create direction, purpose, meaning, and actually achieve success. If we are totally focusing on our circle of concern, the energy is dissipated in everywhere, but there's nothing we can do because we don't have control over. And so we just end up running on empty battery and burning out. So that's why the first key is really focus. Focus is really important because everything you do in life depends on the focus and where you put your focus on. So right now, I invite you to go through your worksheet. And I'd like you to do the first reality check. Now, I'd like you to rate those three statements for yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being not very good and 10 being the best it can be. And I want you to be honest with yourself and judge yourself right now and estimate, okay, evaluate. I am focusing on what truly matters. And score yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 right now. Now answer the second question. I am best using my focus, to create my future. Again, rate yourself. How do you see yourself right now? Are you best using your focus to create the future you want to have in the future? And the third question is, my results are matching my focus and effort. Are your results directly a correlation of what you're doing? Your actions, your decisions, and your focus. And so just take a few seconds here to rate yourself right now. Now, you don't have to share this with anyone, but it's for you. As I said, the first step to be able to improve your current situation is to do an honest assessment of where you currently are right now. And so just take a few seconds to answer those questions. And at the end, we might continue to discuss a little bit more at the end of the presentation if you want to discuss a little bit more about those. But I think this is really important, doing a reality check from time to time. That's how we make progress, and that's how we can grow and evolve in life. If we just keep running without really examining where we're going, we end up somewhere place where that's probably not where we want to be in the first place. So really take that opportunity to go through the exercise and do it for yourself. Okay, so now, about focus, there's two different ways of looking at focus, and there's two different perspectives we can approach when we think about focus. First perspective is to look at the big picture, and the second is to look at the small focus. So what is the big picture? The big picture is asking yourself, what is my one thing in life? What is my purpose? What is my vision? Or what is my mission on this planet? Being able to articulate that and clearly define what it is going to give you a sense of direction in life. And it's going to help you hang on to something that no matter what happens in the world, no matter what changes, you know with certainty that you're here for a reason. You have a purpose. You're here to make a contribution. So the big picture is about what is your purpose? Are you clear on your purpose? What is the one thing in your life right now? And the small focus is about what is most important and meaningful to me right now. And this corresponds to what we call in the personal development field is your values. Your values are your highest priorities in life, and they're specific to each individual. Each individual are going to use their resources of space, time, energy, and money according to their own personal values or core values. And that is really important to understand to be able to make the most out of life. Now, I like to use the analogy of an iceberg. Imagine you're an iceberg and there's two different parts. There's a visible part of you, which is conscious and that most people can observe. And these are your decisions, your actions, and the results you get in life. But those decision, action, and result are dictated by something that happens on the unconscious level or subconscious level. And those two determinants that dictate your decision, action, and results are what we call your values and your core drivers. Your values determine your decision, action, and result and how you use your resources. And your core drivers determine your values. So that's why these two things that seems quite, simple, but the problem is most people are not aware of them. Most people operate like robots, like on an automatic pilot, without really understanding what is determining their everyday decision, actions, and behavior. Most people have no understanding of no clue about what drives them on a daily basis. They don't understand their values. They don't know their values. They don't know their core drivers. The problem with that is they mostly become reactive to external environment rather than being self-directed from the inside. And so again, here is the exercise for you, is the second reality check for you around your values. So again, take a few seconds to answer those three questions and rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. I am crystal clear about my purpose in life. If you have a purpose, if you can articulate easily, you'll score yourself around 10. If you have no idea where you're going, if you're completely lacking direction, you're going to score yourself around 1. If you know your true values, and there's a distinction between true values versus what people think are values in terms of society, in terms of honesty, integrity, these are not real values. These are like morals and ethics. These are society's values, but they're not really your true personal core values. You don't wake up in the morning and think I'm going to do honesty today or integrity now. And so if you know your true values and you've done some work in the past before, rate your scale closer to 10. If you don't have any clue about what's driving your everyday decision, actions, and behavior, score yourself close to 1. And the third question, I know exactly what drives my everyday decision, actions, and behavior. Again, if you're operating like randomly, you score yourself around 1. If you are really clearly, intentionally doing everything on a daily basis and knowing exactly why you're doing it and what are you doing it and how you prioritize your day, you're going to score yourself around 10. Now, I just want to share with you a few comments from clients that work with us and really to highlight the importance of understanding your values and core drivers. So this is just a testimonial from Michael in the UK. And Michael was facing some difficult challenges and he was a bit lost in a way. And what we did together is I helped Michael determine his core values and determine his core drivers to give him some clarity about what was really the highest priorities for him in his life, in order to be able to set his career path and simplify all the complexity that was around him and draining him. And so after that, he got really clear on what drives him, and being able to link everything together to his values made a big difference in how he felt and also the way he was doing things on a daily basis. And so, if right now you're feeling stuck, it's probably because you're not clear on what really drives you on a daily basis. What are your highest priority in life and your values? Same thing happening with Angela. She was working in a pretty good company and having an executive position, but she was not fulfilled. She thought that something was missing, and she was looking for something else, but she didn't really clearly know what it was. And so again, the same thing, determining your values allowed Angela to realize that how she can fulfill her values in a different role, in a different career, in a different job, and get a lot more fulfillment out of that. And so that was really important for her to be able to clarify that, so she could make a transition in her career. And since then she made the transition in, and she's really enjoying where she is right now. And finally, David, again, the same thing. David did a lot of personal development, attended a lot of workshops and a lot of courses, but until we started working together, never really did one-on-one work. And that's the key. You can attend a lot of workshops or a lot of courses, but it's only when you do one-on-one work that you can really narrow down and clarify what's really important to you. Because you need some kind of perspective, you need some kind of transformation happening. And so I did some work with David around his values and his purpose, because he didn't have a clear purpose. He was just doing what he was doing by default. But once we started to unlock his purpose, suddenly his whole career changed, and the meaning and the fulfillment he got out doing what he was doing really changed for his life. And so again, that's the importance of really understanding the big picture, which is the purpose, but also the small focus, which is your values and your core drivers. And when you put the pieces of the puzzle together, that's really when you get a really clear focus in your life. You're not wasting time, you're not missing out on opportunities, but you're able to take the right opportunities for you, the opportunities that are right for you. Not every opportunity is an opportunity. Very often, opportunities are just disguised distractions. So if I just summarize, the number one key around focus is that your values and your purpose determine your focus and your direction in life. And if you're currently thinking that you're missing a little bit, or you feel stuck, or you're not quite clear about where you're going, you just point out to a feedback to you to tell you that you need some more clarity around who you are, your values and your purpose, and work a little bit around that. If you have low score in the first two reality check, it's probably indicating and confirming what I'm just saying right now. So now imagine if you are crystal clear on your values and your core drivers and your purpose in life. If you had that clarity about who you are, if you had that clarity about direction of where you're going, what would be possible for you? What would your life look like? What would you be able to accomplish? Really think about it. Your focus determines your future. If your focus is scattered, your future is going to look scattered. That's why this is the first key. Focus is the beginning of everything. Understanding yourself, what is most important and meaningful to you, and really want to do, what do you want to do with the rest of your life? Now, let's move on the second key, which is master your emotion. Now, when we combine focus and master your emotion, we unlock clarity. So let's go into master your emotion. I really like this quote from Deborah Rosman. Deborah Rosman is the CEO of the Heart Math Institute, which is an institute where they really do a lot of research around the connection between the brain and the heart and coherence, and the alignment between the heart, gratitude, and the effect on health and well-being. And Deborah said, if you don't manage your emotion, then your emotion will manage you. I can 100% guarantee that if you don't manage your emotion, you're going to go on a roller coaster, and you're going to be at the mercy of your emotion. So why mastering your emotion is important? Well, right now, in these days is because our ability to master our emotion directly affect our capacity to navigate, grow, and succeed in a volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world. And right now, we're right in the middle of it. It's been amplified since the beginning of the year with the coronavirus and the pandemic. But this is what we're facing right now. A very volatile world, a very uncertain future, a very complex current world and amount of information and a lot of ambiguity in information and what we can do. So it's important to be able to master your emotion in order, because we live in a fast changing world. Today, tomorrow might be completely different. Tomorrow we might have a different set of rules that are imposed onto us. And so we need to be able to manage our emotion. We need to be able to manage our stress. Because the inability to adapt to changing circumstances or changing environment is what really creates chronic stress, both in the mind and in the body. And so if we just not only want to survive, but really thrive in these challenging times, it's really important for us to be able to develop the capacity to master our emotion, manage our emotion, and balance our mind and our perception. And another reason is, Warren Buffett said it best, is if you can't manage your emotion, don't expect to manage money. If you go on emotional roller coaster, that's more likely where you're going to make stupid and foolish decisions with your money. You're going to go for greed, you're going to go for bright, shiny object without really making informed choices. And so manage emotion has everything to do with your ability to manage your financial destiny. And so again, this is another reason why mastering your emotion is important. And right now, this is what's happening. Everybody's reading the news and it triggers some panic because everybody is freaked out about what's happening. There's a lot of uncertainty. And so the lockdown is almost like COVID-19 is a massive global social experiment happening around the world. It's almost like a big brother global. And as I said before, this uncertainty, these fears is creating a massive health crisis that is going to unfold in the this year, but it's going to unfold perhaps to the next 5 to 10 years. And especially in the younger people, because they haven't really had the ability or the capacity to develop that emotional resilience. And the lockdown is also creating some fatigue. People are sick of the lockdown and starting to react and act sometimes foolishly. So all this buildup of stress, the buildup of anxiety, the fear-mongering happening, the polarization happening in the social media, this is having a big toll on people. The lockdown, a lot of problems happening with relationship and violence. This is really the key. Mastering your emotion is your ability to navigate these current times. For example, these are some results. If you look at the first diagram, up to 37% of people show sign of psychological distress. Already 45% of adults felt adverse effect on mental health. And then up to 70% felt the period was the most stressful in their careers. And if you look at the second curve, you can see the different, whoops. But if you look at the curve that is not really going much down, it's called the phase 2, psychological trauma, mental illness, burnout. This curve is not going down. The other one are going down, but this one is just keep going up and is going to continue to go up for many, many years because we're not really prepared, or most people are not prepared and don't know how to manage their emotion and clear emotional blocks and navigate an emotional roller coaster. So the reason why this is really important is because if we are able to master our emotion, we can disengage from our monkey brain, which is called the limbic system, and go back into our executive function. So we can have clarity about prioritizing, focusing, and doing things that are important to us and setting goals and achieving our goals. So when we are functioning in an executive state, rather than an emotional or survival state, we are the most efficient, effective in achieving our goals. And that's why mastering your emotion is really important, to move from the monkey brain to the human brain, which has clarity, purpose, meaning, and focus. So here's a reality check for you. Again, just estimate and evaluate your current situation right now on a scale of 1 to 10 by just rating yourself on these 3 statements. I know how to effectively master your emotion. If you get it all sorted, you score yourself around 10. If you're like really volatile and from one day to the next day and you're really struggling to keep it together, you're probably going to score yourself around 1. I express my emotion easily rather than suppressing them. Suppression is not a way of managing emotion. It's just a way of shutting up the cooker pressure until it explodes. And so expressing your emotion is a lot more healthy than suppressing your emotion. So if you just keep your emotions and bottle them up, rate yourself around 1. But if you freely express your emotion and are able to engage and converse with them in a civilized manner, you're going to score yourself around 10. And finally, this one is really important, especially in lockdown conditions. I know exactly what pushes my button and what I can do to avoid overreacting. When people don't know what pushes their button or they don't know how to counteract the overreaction, that's what leads to, argument, violence, and domestic violence. And so again, the more you understand yourself, the more you understand specifically what pushes your button and what you can do to avoid overreaction, you're going to score yourself around 10. If you have no clue and you just like, an emotional roller coaster, just walking around people, you're going to score yourself around 1. Again, it's not about saying that it's good or bad. It's just having an honest evaluation of where are you currently right now. Because if you find where you are, there's always a way to improve and change things in the future. So here's the thing. In order to move towards the future, there's 2 things that are important, the future and the past. In order to achieve the goals we want to achieve in life, there's 2 things that are important, the future and the past. In order to move towards the future, we need to have a clear vision, we need to have a purpose, and we need to set some specific goals to give us direction. But just having that is not enough if we don't clear the emotional baggages and limiting beliefs, fear and anxiety and shame and guilt that we're carrying around. Most people are clear on where they're going, but haven't dealt with their past emotional baggage. And that past emotional baggage is what holds them back from making progress or holds them back from more success, whether it's their career, their business in life, or in their finances. And so really the ability to deal with both sides, create a compelling future, but also clear out the emotional baggage from the past is really what's going to free you from moving forward and growing and evolving as a person, both in your personal life, but also in your career or business. And so here's another reality check for you. Again, rate your scale on a scale of 1 to 10 for these 3 statements. First, I easily adapt to change and deal with uncertainty. Now, if the little thing that changed in your life is just freaking out, just rate yourself closer to 1. But if you can adapt to quite a bit of change and deal with uncertainty in a way that is quite effective and allows you to regain and maintain your control, you're going to score yourself around 10. If I know how to effectively clear my emotions, so if you learn some tools in the past or some processes to help you clear your emotional baggage, and it works for you, you're going to score yourself around 10. If you have no freaking clue on how to clear that stuff that is holding you back, you're going to score yourself around 1. It just shows you that there's some room for improvement. And the third statement, I can quickly regain my internal balance, calm, when I'm challenged or under pressure. This is particularly relevant right now. Everybody is under a lot of pressure, and we all are challenged at the moment. And so the speed at which you can regain your composure to be able to take the next action step or make an informed decision is going to be really, really important. It's really about the speed of how we can adapt to changing environment. And so again, if you're adapting pretty well and you have evidence for it, you're going to score yourself around 10. If everything that there's a little thing, someone pushes your button and then you're just non-functional for the week or so, you're probably going to score yourself around 1. Again, it's not about judging yourself. It's just about making an honest evaluation of where you are right now and what is the potential for you to be able to take some actions to change those. So again, just to show you a few testimonials from some clients about the importance of managing your emotion. When you have a lot of emotions, sometimes it's hard to find your flow. It's hard to find clarity and direction in your life. And that was the case for Barney. So it was really important for him to first clear some of the emotional baggage, so then he can create more clarity for him. But the most important thing was, and the most important thing for everyone, the first thing we need to do in life is to love ourselves unconditionally. We need to be our best friend. If we're not our best friend, it's going to be worse. The road, the journey is going to be worse for us, but also for the other people around us. And so really clearing your emotion and coming at peace with yourself and honoring yourself and loving yourself for who you are is the most important task anyone can do in their life, because that is going to dictate everything that's going to unfold next. Now, the same thing with Sam. You know, if you have a lot of subconscious or non-conscious emotional past baggage that you haven't dealt with, sometimes it can really affect your relationship with other people. And that was the case with Sam. She felt like she wasn't able to hold certain boundaries with other people, and she was quite intimidated around strong people. And so again, that was the important to go back and look at what is the emotional baggage that exists, the limiting beliefs that exist, and being able to clear that so she can take back her own power and regain her own power, instead of shrinking when she's with perceived authorities or people that she appears are more important than her. So again, clearing your emotion and your past emotional baggage is really important for you to step into who you are, regain your personal power, and take control and charge of your life. And finally, Dirk, also really important. He was in a job that is really high pressure and had a lot of pressure on himself. And so for him, it was really important to be able to clear some of the emotions that was preventing him from just giving all he has into his work and his career around managing projects. So again, he was limiting himself because there was past emotional baggage that was just, holding him back from just giving it all. So again, the importance of being able to clear emotional baggage is key. No matter where you want to go, you need to have a compelling future, but you still need to make sure you're going to cut the ties from the emotional past baggage that holds you back. So the second key is about mastering your emotion. And your ability to master your emotion determines first your adaptability, the quality of your life, and the quality of your finances. Most people think that finance is all about strategy. Finance is all about first your emotional relationship with money. Then once you clear that up, it's about putting the right strategies in place. But just the right strategy in place without the emotional clearing about all the baggage and the limiting beliefs around money is not going to do much. You're just going to sabotage yourself. So imagine if you could clear any fear, shame, or guilt that you've built in the past that is currently holding you hostage from more success, more impact, and fulfillment both in your life and at work. What would you be able to accomplish if you freed yourself from the shackles of the past? What would we be able to create? What would be possible for you? Sometimes it's just about clearing some limiting beliefs to allow you to unlock your future and your potential. Now we're going to move on to the third key, which is authentic strategies. So when we have the full picture, the focus, the master your emotion and authentic strategy, now we have clarity, we have certainty, and we have confidence. And this is how we unlock our personal leadership. Focus, master your emotion, and authentic strategy is the foundation to create personal leadership, because we gain clarity, confidence, and certainty. Now here's something. Most strategies you will learn from other people won't work for you. And I can tell you that because I did quite a lot learning other stuff from other people. It never worked for me. It's not that their strategies are bad. It's not that they're bad people. It's that their strategies they have that work for them won't work for you because you're not them. It's as simple as that. We are all unique. We have unique values. We have a unique genius. And we have a unique natural flow to do the things we do. And so just borrowing a strategy that works from someone else has no guarantee that this strategy is going to work for you. But worse than that, if you borrow a strategy that works for someone else and it doesn't work for you, most cases it's going to create limiting belief around your ability, your capacity, and your confidence. And this is not really the way to go because you're making an unfair comparison. The only strategy that is going to work for you is a strategy that is authentic to who you are as a person. It's a strategy that matches your values, matches your genius, and matches your natural flow. And so I like this quote, and that's one of my favorite quotes from Ralph Waldo Emerson, which just summarizes what I just said. Envy is ignorance. Oops, mistake spelling, it's okay. Envy is ignorance and imitation is suicide. Envy is ignorance because if you're trying to be someone you're not, you're ignoring the magnificence of who you are. And if you try to imitate someone that you're not, you're suiciding yourself because you're not going to succeed. As I said before, if you borrow other people's strategy, in most cases, they won't work for you because they've not been designed for you. They've been designed for the other person that developed them. And so it's really important to develop your own authentic strategies to be able to make the most out of life. That's how you unlock your unique personal leadership. Your unique personal leadership is to find what is your authentic strategies. That's really the foundation. And these are the 3 keys to help you regain control of your life and on your future. Now, this is the big picture. And the big picture is great, but what is the practical application of the big picture? So the practical application of the big picture is we need to cover all these points to be able to develop personal leadership. The first thing, we need to know ourselves deeply. It's all about self-awareness, and no one can do it for you. You have to do it for yourself, but you also have to do it with the help of someone else that's going to provide you perspective and objectivity. So knowing ourselves is the most important thing, is the first step. Without that, nothing's going to really work. We need to have clarity and confidence on what we offer. What is the unique thing that we offer? What is our unique genius, our unique skills, our unique talents, our unique gift? Because this is the way we're going to be able to create value and exchange value with other people. That's where the finance comes in. Money is just a measurement of an exchange of value between people or entities. And so if we're not clear on what we have to offer to other people, and if we're not confident of the value we have to offer, we're going to limit our income of money. We're going to limit the flow of money coming towards us. We also need, as I said before, to be adaptable and resilient for change. This is all about mastering your emotion and clearing emotional baggage from the past. We need to be able to develop a clear vision for ourselves, for our life, for our work, for our career, create a direction and purpose where we want to go, because this is what's going to help us navigate the uncertainty. And lastly, we need to find our natural flow. What is the natural way we do the things the best so we can achieve peak performance? But most importantly, we can be sustainable over a long period of time. It's not about trying to rush and do things quickly and trying to imitate other people, because this is not going to last. The only thing that is sustainable is the way we do things naturally, not when we try to force things. And so here's, again, a reality check for you to score yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 for these 3 statements. So first, I have a clear plan to achieve what I want in life. If you have a clear roadmap for the next 5 to 10 years and you're really clear on your goals, you're going to score yourself around 10. If you have no clue and you're just going with the flow, every day is different and trying to do your best and manage what happens, you're going to score yourself around 1. Second, I know how to tap into my flow and be productive. If you're very inner directed, inner focused, and inner driven, and you are able to execute productively and effectively, you're going to score yourself around 10. But if you feel yourself, you're feeling that you're getting lazy, you're just procrastinating, you're not doing the important things, and you're just trying to avoid and live in denial, you're going to score yourself around 1. And the third point is really important. I have the support I need to help me identify my blind spots and overcome them. We all have blind spots. We all have biases. And by definition, we cannot find ourselves, our blind spots. We need someone else to be able to help us. And that's why having a supporting environment is really key. The supporting environment is going to be able to point out to the things we're not seeing ourselves. And so if you have a supporting environment, currently score yourself around 10. If you're just struggling on your own and trying to figure it out all on your own and you have no clue, just score yourself around 1. Again, it's not about judging, it's about doing a careful evaluation of where you are right now so you can look for new opportunities in the future to change your situation. So having doing coaching with people over the past 10 years and really studying human behavior and science and neuroscience for the past 20 years, working with all those people from all different industries, we find out that there's really 5 key that accelerate personal leadership. Doesn't matter where you come from, doesn't matter where's your career, doesn't matter where's your industry, it's all about the same thing. You always come back. It's almost like a universal blueprint for accelerating your personal leadership. And those 5 key elements are clarifying your identity, which is understanding your values and your core drivers. Claiming your inner wealth is really about looking what makes you unique. What is your competitive advantage? What is the unique value you have to offer to the world? 3 is clearing the roadblocks. As I said, it's about clearing the past emotional baggage, dissolving limiting beliefs, clearing fear, shame, guilt, because these are the things that holds people back. Step 4 is create your future vision. What is your vision? What is the direction? Where are you going? And what is your purpose? Because your purpose is your beacon in life. And so if you have no clue about that, you're just going to bump like on a pinball and just bump from things to things without really understanding, and things you're doing just random things. And then 5th is about commit to yourself. And commit to yourself is really about identifying your authentic strategies. What is your natural flow? What do you do best? What do you do the most effortlessly? And where is the greatest contribution you can make? And once you start to put all these together, when you integrate all these different elements together, that's when you create what we call a clear path forward in life. Whether it's in your personal life, whether it's in your career or your business, the same model applies to business. Every entity, same thing applies to family. Every entity needs to go through all these 5 different steps to be able to create a clear path forward. So that is really the key to personal leadership, those 5 steps. And it took us about 10 years to be able to refine that and really boil it down to what are the non-negotiable aspect of human behavior and human potential that people need to work on to be able to unlock their personal leadership. And it boils down to those 5 things. The reason why this is important and the reason why personal leadership is important is because without self-expression, life, like spontaneity and joy, life is boring. If you can't express yourself, if you can't express your unique gift, life is boring. You're just going to be limited and try to conform to what other people think you should be. But the second aspect of that is that without service to others, life also lacks meaning and purpose. As I say, we are social beings, we are community beings. And when we make a difference in someone else's life, that's where we derive the greatest meaning and purpose. When we're able to make a contribution to other people's life, that's where we think that we're making that significant contribution. That's where we get the sense of, yes, I matter, my life matters. So these 2 aspects, the self-expression and the service, are really key in order to live a successful, fulfilling life and making an impact in the world. And so I like this quote from the French writer Marcel Proust. The real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes. It's not about looking and exploring other things, but it's really in having new eyes. It's about looking at a different way of who we are and getting a deeper understanding of who we are, how we function, and what is the greatest contribution we can make to this planet, to this world. Because our time in this life is limited. And so we just want to make sure we're giving our best. So again, a few testimonials from people that went through the Clear Path program, which is the 5 different key elements. And this is a testimonial from Alan, which is in the webinar today. And again, Alan said that, he wished he had done it 10 years ago. He says the business person or accountant in me is know that I would have done things differently and retire with 10 times the wealth I have now. Now, when Alan thinks about wealth, it's not just about financial wealth, but it's also personal wealth. It's about personal wealth, it's about relationships, it's about everything. It's about health, it's about well-being. The wealth is really a bigger picture, just not only the financial wealth. This is another testimonial from Kylie, which also was kind of at a crossroad in her life and stuck and not getting anywhere, trying to launch her business and frustrated, doing everything that was supposed to work, but it didn't work. She's been working with a business coach for a couple of years and implementing everything, but nothing was working. Why? Because there were unconscious internal blockage. There was what we call values conflict. And that was really trapping her progress. So she was just spinning the wheel like in a hamster wheel, but not getting anywhere. And so we just needed to work with Kylie, point out the blind spot, point out the values conflict, resolve the values conflict, and everything suddenly started to work. Her business started to work. She landed some clients, and she also got a baby. She wanted to build a family. So everything started to happen once we identified, clear the emotional baggage, resolve the internal conflict around their values. And then that was really the key that unlocked the possibilities for Kylie. So that was very, very important for her to go through all the different stages of this program. And finally, Nika is the same thing. Nika always very passionate about yoga and wanted to build a life and career around yoga, but there was some emotional baggage around it. There was some little problems around values and misalignment. And so the same thing going through the 10-week period. What gave Nika, he gave her the clarity and the confidence about this is really her purpose. This is really her mission in life. And that's what she was born for. And so going through working both myself and Marcia with Nika allowed her to launch her business and starting to get her first client and build a brand and start to make a contribution with what she was born for to do, teaching yoga and teaching marketing to yoga people. So again, we had to go through all the different steps to be able to get the result. There's a reason why there's 5 steps, and then there's a reason why the 5 steps go in a certain order. You can't just skip anyone. Everything is required and integrated. This is how it works. And so the third key is your ability to identify your authentic strategies and find your unique flow, determine your success and level of fulfillment in life. Again, really important. It's all about you. So far, what we talked about, your focus is all about you. Mastering your emotion is all about you. Your authentic strategy is all about you. Why? Because that's only you. There's only you in the world. Everything starts from you. So imagine if you knew your natural flow and you had a strategy that fits you like a glove to be the most productive and performant. What would be possible for you? What would you be able to accomplish? What would your life look like? Think about it. As I said, I love history and philosophy, and this is one of the, if I were to summarize the purpose and the meaning of life, it boils down to one quote. And this is a quote from the Oracle of Delphi 2,500 years ago in Greece. And the quote says, it was on the wall of a temple at Delphi. And we had the chance to visit Delphi in Greece. It's a beautiful place. But the quote says, know thyself, love thyself, and be thyself. These are the 3 keys I shared with you. Know thyself is all about understanding your focus, your values, your core drivers, your purpose, your mission, and your vision. Love thyself is all about dissolving your emotional baggage. It's all about making peace with yourself. It's all about mastering and managing your emotion. And be thyself is all about acting on your authentic strategies, following your authentic strategies. this is really what life is all about. No matter where we are, what stage we are, what period of life we are, what period of history, this is really what it's all about, the game of life. And I would just do my little addition and share that gift, because we all have a unique gift, a unique contribution to make to this planet. And the purpose we're here is to first discover it, refine it, polish it, and then share it to other people. So if I go back to my journey started in medical research. And that was a significant part of my life because I learned a lot of principles, learned a lot of grounding in my medical research career. But it was not the whole story. I was not just born to be a scientist, a medical researcher. And that was the decision I had to make along the way. When I started to unlock my calling, I had to make the decision, do I want to stay comfortable and fit with what I've been trained for and stick to it and ultimately end up miserable? Or do I just follow my calling and quit that comfort, but go for what I think is really, truly my purpose on this planet? And so it might be the same for you. You might have started something and you might gradually realize that, oh, that's not where you want to finish, or that's not where you want to stay all your life. And that's okay. You don't have to stay there. The choice is yours. The responsibility is yours, but you don't have to stay. You can always change your course. You can always modify your trajectory. Yes, it's going to take some courage. Yes, it's going to be taking some risk. But there's some tools you can learn along the way, and personal development provides you a range of tools you can learn along the way to help you navigate that change, to help you change your trajectory and adapt to a new environment. And so there is hope. Because really life is about teamwork. I didn't come to where I am today just on my own. I did a lot of study. I read a lot of books. I attended a lot of course seminar, but I also work one-on-one with coaches and mentors because they helped me see what I couldn't see. So again, life is about teamwork. The same thing if you have your own business. You don't run your own business on your own. Life is about teamwork. Business is about teamwork. It's about collaboration. But the most important thing is about being willing to take a leap forward. You have to be willing to take some risk in order to get greater reward. So what do you need right now? More information? I don't think is what you need. More information is not enough. You can accumulate information, but if you never find a way to act upon the information, you just keep piling information and it's not very useful. What most people need is really assistance, support, and guidance, so they can transform and implement what they've learned to change their result and create their future. If you just accumulate information, information is free. You just go online, Google, and you find whatever you want. However, the major difference is most people get the information, but don't apply the information or don't know how to apply the information. The implementation of the information and the transformation that comes through that process of implementation is really what makes the difference between average and success, between unfulfilled and fulfillment. And so again, just a few messages. This is, again, some of the people I've coached and work with. It's all about helping people, helping each other and giving them some support along the way. It's all about being able to provide them with different perspective at the right time when they need that different perspective, instead of letting them just running on their own and hitting the wall. So again, as I said, it's all about teamwork. It's all about collaboration. It's all about making sure we create a surrounding, supporting environment that's going to help us navigate whatever roadblocks we're encountering in life. So just like me, I know that deep down you have a yearning to express your unique genius, because you have a genius. Everybody has a genius. You also have a yearning to express and maximize your potential and find out new opportunities for you, the right opportunities for you. And you also have a yearning to make a meaningful contribution to society. That's how every human being derives meaning and purpose, making that contribution, changing someone's life in some shape or form. And so we all have that. It's something that is inbuilt. That's what allows us to evolve, to grow and evolve as human beings and as a society. And so today what I did is I shared the 3 keys to help you regain control of your life and your future. The focus, the ability to master your emotion, and identifying your authentic strategies. Because all these 3 key elements are necessary to gain clarity, certainty, and confidence on your path forward in life. And the roadmap to apply that and implement those principles is, as I say, is the clear path forward, the 5 accelerators of personal leadership. This is what we've been working with people for the past 10 years to develop, to refine, to really identify what are the essential of human behavior that creates the maximum results for people. And so if right now you find yourself in a situation where you're kind of stuck, you're not quite sure, you're not quite clear, or you're unsure about the future, you're not quite sure about what is the next step for you to take, what is the strategy for you to take, what I'd like to do is I'd like to invite you to take my gift, which is a strategy call, value at $297. I invite you to just book a chat. It's a complimentary chat with me, and book a chat. And let's have a conversation about you. Let's have a conversation about where you are right now, what you want to achieve, and let's see how we can figure out a path for you. In this call, we're going to identify your highest priority. What is the thing you need to focus on among all the different bright, shiny objects that probably are arriving in your daily life? We're going to look at clarifying exactly what you can do right now, not what you need to do in 10 years' time, but what you need to do right now to be able to set yourself on the right trajectory. And we're going to look at mapping out a strategy for you to move forward. Wherever your situation, regardless of where you are, what stage of your life you are, what stage of career, it's about looking at where you are right now so we can map out a strategy for you to move forward. Whether it's about determining more of your focus, your values, your core drivers, whether it's about looking at how you can develop mastery towards your emotion, or whether it's looking at identifying what is your authentic strategies. And so right now, if you're feeling stuck or if you're struggling, I invite you just book this complimentary call with me, and we'll go and dive deeper and shed some lights of where you are and what you can do. And this is really simple. This is the link if you want to just book I said it again, this is a free complimentary call with me, just to have a conversation and see, okay, where you are right now, where do you want to go? And if there is a fit, we'll see whether we can help you on the journey. Now, I'd like to invite you to book that strategy call as soon as possible, because there are limited spots available. So if that is something that is of interest to you, if that's something that you think that right now you hit the stage where you exhausted all the things you can do on your own and you don't know what to do next, just book a call. It's just a call. It's going to be a short moment of your life, but that moment potentially might make the biggest difference for you in the future. We don't work with everyone. We are selective with the people we work with, because the depth of the work we do, people need to be ready, people need to be open. And so we are very selective of who we work with. But the people we work with, we give to 100%. And so we only work with people who are ready and committed to unlock their potential. They first need to be willing. We can't force people to do things they don't want to do. So people need to be ready and committed to unlock their potential. It's for people that want to work smarter, not harder. If you just like to just cram and exhaust yourself and that makes you happy, then it's probably not the right thing. We work for people who want to create something authentic and make a difference. We want to help people make their unique contribution, because that's how they're going to get the greatest success and the most fulfillment out of life. And most important, we work with people that are open-minded and coachable. Some people are not coachable because they don't listen. They think they know better. Well, we can't really work with those people. So if you have some of those qualities, and right now you're feeling that, oh, that might be the right time for me to have a conversation to see what I can do for my future, then I invite you to book a strategy call with me. As I say, we do not work with everybody, And we do not work with people who are looking for a quick fix. We don't offer a quick fix. We don't have a magic bullet, and you're not going to get rich quick. We don't do that. If you're not willing to evolve and question deep-seated assumptions, because we're going to challenge your thinking, we're going to challenge your perspective, we're going to challenge your assumption. If you're not willing to be able to question those, then you're probably not the right person to work with us. If you think you already know it all, then that's good. You know it all. There's nothing for us to do. Your cup is full, so there's nothing for us to add to your cup. And also, if you're not prepared to invest in yourself financially, well, that means you don't really value yourself. Nothing is free in life. For the things that are really important, we have to invest in life. We have to invest something. And so if you're not prepared to invest in yourself, that means you're not seeing growing yourself as a priority. And that's okay. You're just not someone that we're going to work with. What we do is we assist, support, and guide our clients in their personal leadership journey, because it's a journey. As I say, it's not a quick fix. It's not a magic bullet. It's a journey of uncovering and unfolding the magnificence of who you are. And we help them to create a clear path forward in their life, in their career, and their business. We focus on helping people find success, whether it's financial success, personal success, career success, professional success, but also fulfillment, because success without fulfillment is kind of empty. And so we really want to help people find success and fulfillment in their vocation, because that vocation is going to be designed around their unique genius, their unique skills, and their unique purpose. And that's what we've been on our journey. We've been on a journey to be able to create that for ourselves. And so that's what also we'd like to create for you. So again, if you'd like to have a chat with me, just book it here. Here's the link, and we'll share the link also in the comments. Just to give you a bit of perspective on what our client says. This is one. Again, one was also at a crossroad in her career. Crossroad in terms of growing her career, choosing a different career, and building a family. And the same thing was happening. There was conflict of values, and nothing was really happening. She was dedicating a lot of attention, energy, and focus around those three things, but nothing was moving forward. Again, working with one was about reestablishing focus, clarifying values, clarifying core drivers, clarifying purpose, dissolving some limiting beliefs, some fears, and being able to realign all of these pieces together to create the path you wanted. And working with both Marcia and myself, that's what we help one do. And now she has what she wanted, but she just needed a little bit of help because she couldn't see. That's what we experience with most people. Most people can't see the blind spot, can't see the roadblocks, and that we're here to point them and not only point them out, but also help them clear them and dissolve the roadblocks. And this is a quote from Gail, which is also on the webinar today. And again, just mention that this is what we do. We help people get different perspective, see things in a different way, ask different questions, do a lot of reflection and question assumption, and a lot of things around the mind-body connection too. And so again, the skills we have accumulated, both Marcia and I, is around health, medical, mindset, well-being, and business. That's how we can combine everything together. And that's what gives the uniqueness of our team, is that we provide unique perspective. So we work with clients globally, as I said before. We love working with people from different parts of the world because it keeps expanding our perspective. We learn about different cultures. We understand different ways of behaving. It's fascinating when you study human behavior. The bigger the population you can study, the more you understand, and it's a really fun game for us to do that. But also, it also allows us to make a more global contribution to what we're doing to society. So we work with clients with a proven framework. As I said, we've spent the past 10 or 20 years to identify, refine, and create that framework. And it's based on research in terms of human behavior research, neuroscience research, mind research, brain research, but it's also based on practical experience with clients and work with clients from around the world, a range of industry at different levels in their career, from the employee, the students, to the CEO and senior executive or business owner, entrepreneur. And so we have really packed all this breadth of knowledge and experience into a program that works for everyone. So again, here's the link if you'd like to book a chat with me. And what I'd like to do now is I'd like to thank you all for sticking around with me, listening to me. But most importantly, I'd like to thank you for taking this time, for taking the time this evening to spend some time on yourself, sometimes to clarify who you are, sometimes to ask yourself, sometimes confronting questions and giving an honest answer. Most people won't do that for themselves. Just the fact that you stick here with me on the webinar and participate and do the exercise is just a demonstration that you are valuing yourself. And this is the first and the most important thing you can do in your life is there's only you. It's only about you. So the more you value yourself, the more you're going to discover about yourself, the more you're going to be able to change the situation and create the future you want. So I'd like to thank you for joining me tonight on this webinar. Thank you for participating and going through the exercise and having some moment of self-reflection and perhaps sometimes, a bit of a ha-ha moment when you answer some of those questions. Because now with that new level of awareness, that new amount of information you understood, now you have a clearer path forward in life. You have more clarity about the type of decision and most importantly, the type of actions you're able to make to change your situation and create the future you want. So now what? Well, as I said, you have two choices. The choices is you use all the worksheet, all the questions you answer, and you kind of figure it out. What is the next step that you need to focus on? What is your prioritized action list? Which is really at the end of the worksheet, as I said, you can see. When you total your score at the end of worksheet, from all your reality check, out of 150, you can look at what I'm currently missing to achieve my goals. What am I going to do about it? And then you are able to determine a prioritized plan of action for you. So if you're a person that likes to do things on your own, I really hope that the time in this webinar was valuable to you and really highlights some key points for you to focus on. Now, if you're the type of people that are still struggling a little bit and not quite clear about what's the next step or what things you need to focus on, then it's simple. I just invite you to book a chat with me and let's have a strategy call and have a chat and see, okay, how can I best help you clarify what would be your highest priority? What are the things you need to focus on right now? And let's see in our conversation if we can map out a path forward for you together. I'm here to help. You don't have to figure it out all your own. You don't have to keep struggling. If you're struggling, it's simple. You just need to ask for help. Help is already here. And so let's just have a chat. There's nothing obligatory, just a simple chat. And I'd like to end this presentation with a quote that was given to me on my birthday, on my birthday card by a dear friend of mine. And the quote, it really resonates with me. And the quote says, it's from Ralph Waldo Emerson, and I mentioned Emerson a few times already in the presentation. But the quote says, dare to live the life you have dreamed for yourself. And as you can see, this is what happened for me. Like all the little fish that was medical research, they were all going into a direction. But that direction was not really me. It was not really, my life was not about following that direction. My life was about stepping out, quitting academia, quitting medical research, and going on my own entrepreneurial journey. That might be similar for you. You might be right now in a situation where you're questioning, where am I going? What's my future? What I'm going to do next? What is the things that really is calling me? Well, if that's the case, I invite you to have a chat and we can help you figure this all out together.